Should we land first?
Let's land.
Let's land, mate.
Okay.
Have a seat. Yeah, let's do the thing. Close down the eyes, feet on the floor. Let's go for a deep breath in the nose. And release it. Let's do two more, man. One in the nose. And out. This next one, hold at the top. So in. Let's hold it there. 3, 2, 1. Ah. Yeah, man.
I think I needed that.
We've already been up for like 5 hours.
The stimulation from the medium Costa coffee, the breath work on top of that is quite something else.
Is that trippy? Is that a thing, maybe? Coffee and breathwork.
It's a combo. Cacao and breath work.
Cacao and
Sort of
breathwork.
thing.
I guess it's just slightly more stimulating. So we did a poll this morning, didn't we? On what we're going to talk about. And the winning topic, where are we here? How to build a fitness system that runs even when you're not motivated. How to build a fitness system that runs even when you're not motivated. Let's see. So Jacques, Alan, Jack, Ryan, and Mark, thanks, men. You've that's our topic.
Okay. How
What
to run a fitness system when you don't feel motivated?
Well, this is just what's coming up for me, man. Last week we had a surf. It was great. And you were like, I'm going to surf every week. You've been away. You got back sort of late yesterday, and still you went surfing today. How did you do that? Like what? They're the motivation, because we're talking fitness, but it's like anything, right? So what got you up, and why did you decide to go?
The surfing is an interesting one to talk about because the fitness element is so baked into my life that it's kind of effortless. Whereas surfing maybe is more akin to someone that's listening, that is starting and trying to go from nothing or very little to doing something. So I'm going through that experience now with surfing, and what I always say to people before I explain how I did it is that motivation will only get you so far. So that's what kicks things off. There's a purpose, there's a why, there's a drive, there's a pain, whatever it is. But at some point, the motivation is going to go, and that is the point that people drop off, and that's why people stop and start, and they go through those ups and downs. So this morning, I decided that I was going to go for a surf yesterday. So I think the first thing is that you need to have intention and you need to actually plan. If you just think, right, tomorrow at some point, or next week at some point, I'm going to do some exercise.
I should do something.
Yeah. The chances are that you won't find that time. You won't make that time. So I think there needs to be some sense of intention and pre-planning. So I said to Morgan yesterday, I said, Morgan, like we've been away. We went up north to Yorkshire. Another topic. Big long drive yesterday, and I said to Morgan, we've been in the car for a couple of days. I've done only a couple of hours work. Tomorrow, I'm just going to get off straight away when I wake up, and I'm going to just get in a full day.
Communication.
Got lots of stuff to do. Communication number one.
Yeah.
When I woke up at 5 o'clock, had a little bit of breakfast, made the kids breakfast, laid it all out ready on the table, went up to Morgan, and she was still asleep, but I just sort of stirred her and said, when the kids come up, just send them downstairs. You can stay in bed. Breakfast is made. Blah, blah, blah.
Boundaries.
Yeah. It's half term, so they can just run riot. Morgan can stay asleep. Doors are all locked. I think. Actually, the back door wasn't, but we live in Cornwall, so it's all right. So did what I needed to do, did my duties, like made sure Morgan's life was easy, and then I headed out. I was super motivated. It's only week 2 of reintroducing surfing into my life. It's sunny, and I knew the surf was good because I'd checked the report. And then I did the thing. Went for the surf, got in. It's kind of funny that we're talking about this because I actually got out. I mentioned it to Joe earlier.
Yeah.
Took a board in, wasn't working, got out, nearly went home after 10 minutes. And then I decided, actually, you know what? I'm here. Let's see what happens. Got on a different board and actually had a really good surf after that, which could be a nice mirror of working out.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful, man. No, thanks, Jake. So, I mean, that's like the practical steps. Like you had decided, and as you said, man, like the early day stuff, you're like, I'm kind of excited. I love that first surf, still riding the adrenaline and feels great, right? I'm chasing that feeling I had last week. Maybe I'll see a seal. I don't know, right? It was so sunny, beautiful, kind of easier. You knew the steps. I'm going out tomorrow. I'll get up early, da 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 da. So that's it. Now let's like fast track week 7. It's raining on that day that you've put aside for surfing. It's a bit windy. There is a wave, but it's like it's raining. Maybe you're a bit tired. You had a late one the other night because of work. How are you going to make sure you go surfing on that day? Thinking back to your workout, like, yeah, man, you've been doing this for a long time. Can you remember?
That's a great question.
Those mornings of like, oh, more bloody pull-ups. Because it is like you say, and we'll talk about that maybe in a minute of how it gets baked in. But
yeah, very interesting question. I don't want to go too much into the dissimilarities between working out and surfing, but I do think it's important to bring this up. And this might actually be motivational because with a workout, especially with our system, you don't have to go outside into the rain in the cold. You don't have to have any equipment. It's not gonna. You don't have to drive anywhere. It's not gonna take you an hour to be in the water. So already there's a lot less boundaries when it comes to surfing. And also I would argue, and maybe this is something that I need to process before that time comes, I would argue that the why for working out is probably more
tangible,
more front of mind. Because especially if it's early in the journey, it's probably a physical improvement. You're looking for more strength, more energy, more mobility, and obviously the impact on your mental health. With surfing, I'm not looking to train to be a pro surfer, be in a competition.
What are you looking for?
Well, exactly right. So this is the great question for me.
I love it.
Because my physical practice is in a great place. My family practice is in a great place. Work is balanced. I'm doing a lot of the things that you've inspired me to do, like my meditation and my journaling and a bit of breath work as well. Surfing, as we talked about on the last podcast, is a fulfillment and purpose thing for me. It's deeply, deeply, deeply fulfilling. And me and Joe have had Joe's helped me a lot with me figuring out this thing of life and figuring out how to be happy a little bit, whether he knows it or not.
Bless you, man.
Some was intentional, some wasn't. And I think the risk for me is if I don't do it then I risk losing a piece of that fulfillment that brings me happiness day to day.
Yeah, okay.
So bringing all that back around, what's going to keep me or someone else going when that motivation inevitably dips, which it will? I would say reminding yourself of the why, considering the consequences of removing that good feeling that you've got from being consistent for a period of time.
Yeah, man.
I would say that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Hey, the why, and whether we're talking fitness, surfing, painting, psych, whatever you want to do, right? Learning to French.
Yeah.
That why. And I remember early days, and all the mainly men I work with, a lot of fathers, right? And they'll put a picture of their kid in their space that they work out in. Or if they're in a gym, it's a screensaver. So when I wake up at 5 a.m., I'm like, oh, do I have to get it? There's my babies. They ain't getting any younger. They're going to want more of me. So let's go. And if kids, maybe it's, that holiday you want to go on and you want to look good. Maybe, and these are that's a surface level thing that we don't actually come across too much. It's a bigger piece. So what is your why? It's often for yourself. Maybe it's a picture of younger you.
Mm.
Maybe it's a word that you just put up on a big bit of paper in the room you're working out in your home gym and you're wherever. I think is super. It's the anchor. It's an anchor, right?
Yeah.
So it's like when we're lost at sea, we need our anchor. When we're lost in our head, we need that anchor. Like we'll do this thing in the sort of deeper, like inner emotional work we do. It's like, what is the anchor to come back? We can get caught up in a story. I
Mm.
can't do it. It's too early. It's wet outside. I need to hoover and make breakfast.
Mm.
Oh, what's the anchor? My children are I want to run around playing football then I'm not getting younger. You know, my father, he passed and he was overweight.
What's your why, Joe?
What's my way is those two little babies, man. And also, my dad, he passed away. He passed away at 95 years old. And he was playing
Solid.
tennis. Yeah, it was a pretty good innings. I got a reminder, man. There's my freaking anchor. I got his number there to be like, I got 50 more years, man. And he was playing tennis. He was playing competitive tennis till he was like 91, 92.
Mm-hmm.
Why did he do that? Because it was baked. He'd been playing tennis since he was like 16 years old. This is what he did. Brush your teeth, play tennis. And for you, it's, brush your teeth, work out. I'm similar, but mine is more, I move. I'd say mine is like movement and breathing and like the mindfully stuff to
Mm-hmm.
like drop in. Why? Because I want to meet my grandkids. There you go.
Sure.
That's pretty deep. My
No.
kid's 4 and 6 months. But if I'm like, oh, let's say they have kids around 35, say that's in 30 years. And when I say I meet them, I want to hold them. I want to take them out. I want to give my kids a break. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, man. Yeah,
Got it.
but why? And so answer the question that the guys that's helped us with there is the fitness thing. That's really relevant. Like
100%.
all of the people that join the program is energy. No one's going, I want six pack abs. Suddenly they get it and they're like, no, sick. It's
Yeah.
that, right?
I think for me, and obviously I'm coming at this from an angle of someone that's been very consistent for a long time.
Mm,
So you might resonate with this, you might not. But for me, I know what it feels like to regress from the state, my basic state right now.
ooh,
And for some people, it might be trying to raise that flat. We always say it,
raise
raise the
the floor.
floor, raising that floor up to a place
Mm,
where you feel great every day. If you did kind of a body scan and you were like, how do I feel right now? Yeah, I feel pretty great. Is that me? Yeah.
I think someone's playing music in the studios.
It's the phone ringing. Um, Let me just go sort that out. So yeah, for
Yeah.
me, I know the difference between my basic state being
Mm,
influenced or affected by
yeah.
tiredness, like poor digestion. If I don't work out for a couple of days, I literally am so grumpy.
Well, there you go. It's again, man. I say this all. It's the feeling, right? When we like, if you close your eyes and go, picture yourself having not worked out for 3 days, eating pizza, a massive bowl of ice cream, and getting up late. I can feel myself going like this.
Mm,
I don't want to be that guy.
mm. I think
And
that's
that's beautiful. It's like the anchor of the why of like, oh, for my kids. Also, like put a picture of yourself up there, or write something about how you feel on your shitty day.
yeah,
I feel fucking lazy, and I got up late. I snapped at my partner,
yeah.
and I was late for that meeting.
Mm.
Don't be that guy.
No,
Crap. Right,
I honestly
get
think
going.
for me that is actually the main thing that keeps me going day to day.
Mm,
Not every day I'm thinking I'm not future pacing
yeah.
everything and going
No.
like,
No. Right.
yeah, let's do this workout, this one workout in this landscape
So
of
that
thousands of workouts in the
so my
future,
kids will
so I
have me.
can be an
Yeah.
active dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
True.
that's a deep why,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but in the short term, the day to day motivation, if I do have that feeling of
Mm.
can't be asked doing this, which I do have every
Hmm.
single week,
Yep.
just FYI,
Yeah.
it is because if I don't do this, I know how I will feel,
Yeah.
which is not good.
Yeah.
That goes for eating,
Yep.
it goes for sleeping, it goes for working out. Not doing it, once you're in the routine, not doing it is as much of a sacrifice
Yeah.
as doing it.
Yeah. And you know, for me, it also comes back to like, so then so it's habits. It's like creating that habit that, oh, I want to have energy. What does that mean? Right. Well, I don't know yet. Let's see I know what I feel like right now. Let's do that thing. So when I first met you and you're like, yeah, I'm doing the steps thing, you don't even track it. You're just doing your step. Well, it's on, but you know you've done
Mm.
15,000 steps. And I had done it before. And I'm like, I don't need to track my steps. I'm active, I'm doing stuff. And then I downloaded the app and I was like, oh man, I'm up to 4,000. And then I just started going, well, I got to hit 10,000. And I remember thinking at the time, that's so far. That's, what is that, like 4 kilometers or something? 3
No
miles,
idea.
something like that.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I don't need to walk that much. And now I don't even think about it. And I'll suddenly think, I haven't walked. I don't even look, but I'm like, I know I've only been up and down the stairs into the shops.
Mm.
Right. Come on, take a kid out, take myself out, do something. And now I'm just walking 10,000 plus.
Mm.
And it's okay those days. The other week it was raining. I could not be. As after the surf day, I was like, I ain't moving. Fine. That's cool. But
Yeah.
I knew. And I remember, and I knew what I felt like when I didn't do it.
Yeah.
So it's like taking the step, man. It's just do the thing. So like, how do you stay motivated in fitness when you drop that motivation, or how do you still do the
Mm.
thing?
What's coming up for me based on what we've said so far is kind of awareness, I would say.
Mm,
If you aren't aware
yeah,
of how you feel based on your actions, which is very in a busy world, caffeine fueled, high stress, busy, frantic, not feeling like you own your time, it's very easy to be completely unaware of like your
yeah,
own
man.
body and your own presence and your own mental state.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why things like breathwork, meditation, journaling, which I
Yeah.
think are actually really important for this conversation,
Mm,
are becoming so popular because they're allowing people to just take a
yeah.
couple of minutes to go, how do I feel right now?
Mm,
And that could be off the back of a stressful work call, could be the back of, kids screaming and
yeah.
your reaction to that.
Someone cut you off in the car park.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an easy one to be angry at though.
Yeah. True.
Road rage is a
Yeah.
special one.
Yeah. Park that separate.
Yeah. But it could
Mm.
be something you've eaten.
Yep.
It could be eating something good for you versus something that's not so good for you.
Mm-hmm.
It could be missing a workout versus
Mm.
doing one. How just checking in with yourself and asking yourself what has been the consequence of that,
Yeah.
like positive or negative? Because
Yeah.
we hear it all the time.
Yeah.
A client will say, let's say they're struggling to be consistent with their workouts.
Mm.
And almost every single person will say, every time I do it, I feel so much better
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I always beat myself up if I don't.
Yeah.
So there's the consequence
Yeah.
right there.
Mm.
And for me, starting to really lean into the journaling, it's something I've done on and off for, a few years, but I've never really taken it as seriously as I do now.
Mm-hmm.
It's really given me the platform to have that self-reflection and own the day kind
Yeah,
of,
man.
or not own the day and
Or
actually be like, why didn't I do that? And
yeah.
that, if you're aware of the consequences of maybe the bad decisions you made
Mm.
as well,
Mm-hmm.
or the ones that you're not happy with,
Mm-hmm.
then it's going to inspire you more to make better choices the next day, which isn't quite
Yeah.
motivation. Inspiration and motivation linked, but not
Yeah.
quite the same thing.
But that awareness, man, how can I even know if I'm doing the right thing or a good thing if I'm not aware? If I'm just like unconsciously putting things in my mouth and getting the breakfast, and then I get the coffee, then I get in my car, then I go, like, I've been at the gym, did some things, and I quickly like, if there's no reflection time, was that workout any good? I mean, how
Mm.
many guys come to us and like, oh, I was doing this program or that thing, and I'm like, I'm not, because you weren't even thinking about it. And there's like not thinking about it in the it's such a part of your life that you're doing it. Like, you're this is I just do these steps, I just go surfing, I just work out. And then there's the robot, not thinking. Go
Mm.
to gym, go there and do some stuff, and 4 reps of 5, and how did I actually feel when I left?
Yeah.
What happened? I mean, for me, like, the awareness is so funny because I'm back on coffee, but I quit for like a month. And it wasn't really, It was like no major problem. I was only having 2, maybe 3 a day. That's like, I don't feel that's a problem justifying it. But I wanted to know who Joe was without coffee. Awareness. Like, how do I show up in the morning with my family at a meeting, socially? Um, yeah. When's my dips? When's my peaks? Who am I with like no stimuli?
Mm-hmm.
And it was quite an interesting lesson because I slowed down. And like you know me, I like to talk. I'll talk to anyone. But I sort of paused a bit more, and like I heard more.
Mm.
And then I became aware of that, and I'm like, oh, interesting. Yeah, I could learn. I've learned from myself. No one told me anything, and I'm going off on one here. We so often like want to be told by someone else how to do something or how to feel. We need instructors to teach us breathwork, teach us fitness, teach us surfing, teach us to ride a bike, teach us French, teach us to calm down. We might need a teacher for French, but we know if we stop and we become aware, like if we slow with journaling, breathwork, meditation, if and then we're like, I don't need a coffee right now. I need to just chill. Actually,
Mm.
oh, I should go for a walk. I'm feeling a bit. I'm feeling really. I've got to move my body. I'm going to go for a run. I need to sleep actually. But we have to stop to become aware of that. Yeah.
So let's bring that back around to the original question, which is how to build a fitness system
Mm.
when motivation drops.
Drops. Yeah.
So I would actually argue that we started off by saying like reconsider your why, but I would
Mm-mm.
actually maybe propose that that is still motivation
Yeah.
packaged up in a different. What is
Interesting.
motivation?
Bro. I mean, I don't know why I'm thinking it's like I can be motivated to go and buy a new pair of shoes because I really want those new barefoot shoes that are
Mm-hmm.
super cool with the orange laces. Why was that motivation? Can be motivated to find 89.99 and go online and then sort it out and get it sent to my house, and that's can be motivation.
Mm.
Can be motivation, but where does that come from? That's like a motivation for something, to like feed something that doesn't really matter. I don't need those fucking shoes, but it's
Mm.
feeding the surface level like hit.
I don't think that changes the feeling, the validity of the feeling, though.
Mm. But it's easier for me to be motivated to go buy those shoes to have a quick hit than it is to be motivated to go out on that big run
Mm.
or to get out in the dark and go and work out on my
Yeah,
own in the cold.
I think
So what's
I'm
the
quite a visual person.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
what I'm seeing is there's initial motivation,
yeah.
which is that feeling of it might be pain, it might be desire, it might be. I think when someone initially gets motivated to change their physical and mental health,
Mm,
it's probably not I want to be an active dad. Like
no.
that's not the initial feeling of like
Mm,
wanting to do the thing. And then I think the why is almost a strategy that we can use to prolong that initial motivation.
mm-hmm.
You can dip back into it periodically throughout the process, but I actually think the question was how do we do it without when the motivation's gone. I think
Mm,
the why is more of a way of like just
reminding
giving a
and
little turbo to that motivation,
it's an
which is
anchor.
fine, can bring us up and
Yeah.
down. But what
What
it's very
motivates?
important, and I think it's a strategy that we can all use.
Mm,
But I actually think the awareness that we've been talking about is that's the medium term strategy.
mm-hmm.
The long term is actually the habit building, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
where you just don't have to. You don't need a why. You don't need
You
motivation.
just
Don't
like you
even
brush your
really need
teeth.
awareness. You kind of just do it.
Yeah. What's your motivation to brush your teeth?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would actually say that my motivation to brush my teeth now is not to have clean teeth. I'll just do it.
Right.
And you can get to that point with the way you eat and the way that you
Yeah.
move and your habits in the day.
But yeah. But with the motivation to brush your teeth, it's maybe I could argue my motivation is so my mouth feels fresh. It's not to save my teeth for the next rest of my life. It's so I can feel fresh,
In that
so I can
moment.
turn up at the meeting or
Mm.
the day.
That's almost an awareness as well, though,
It's
because
an awareness that I'm feeling a bit claggy, right?
yeah,
And I want to feel fresh. So the motivation is to, interesting. So the motivation is to be the fresh guy. like
Yeah.
look and feel fresh when I meet someone, or just step into the world and out of my
And it's
pajamas.
part of it's like your preparation to go and perform in the day, I would say.
Yeah,
If I hadn't brushed my teeth, I'd be feeling, I maybe
yeah.
can't operate at
So
my
is that
highest level.
motivation? Is that the motivation? Like, what is that? So there's a motive.
But I'm not
You
motivated
did
to brush my teeth twice a day. It
no,
just
you
happens.
just do it. Yeah, okay, yeah.
So I think that's for anyone that's listening that may be struggling with motivation, or maybe they're in the awareness phase. Like
Mm.
that's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow that is there.
It's what I'm actually feeling is that I don't need to be motivated to do anything right now. I just do the things I want to do. That's actually what I feel,
Mm.
and there must be a motivation. Like I'm trying to tap into me. Like all the stuff I do, I really want to do. Whether that's taking my daughter for a bike ride this morning, going swimming. I'm like, I want to go swimming. What was the motivation behind that?
Enjoyment, maybe.
Play, yeah. Giving her an experience. Like every day is a day, and this day we did something different than yesterday. Is that
Interesting.
motivation?
I don't think. Yeah, the kids one is interesting because like I took after dinner yesterday, I took the kids down to the park because it was so warm and just a
Mm,
beautiful evening. And I think my motivation for that, I wasn't going, oh, Axel needs to practice on his bike or his scooter.
mm,
I was just going, this is going to be enjoyable, and I
yeah,
want to spend time with the kids. So
yeah,
enjoyment.
yeah,
We've covered awareness. I
yeah,
think enjoyment's got to be one of them, and it's
yeah.
not always going to be fun.
No,
But if you can find some enjoyment in what you're doing, it's
I
going to be a
think.
whole lot easier.
I mean, that's hey, when motivation dips, your enjoyment. Okay, so let's say I'm working out in my office or my home office. So I come out of my bedroom and I go next door, doing that for 6 weeks. Motivation's going. It's not enjoying. I'm on the same mat, I'm looking at the same window, got the same light on. Go make it enjoyable. Summer months, go outside. Go call a mate, do it at the office, um, do it downstairs. Put your kid on your back for your push-ups. Like
Go to the
make,
gym, God forbid.
yeah. Oh Lord, the gym. I love the gym. I'm missing it actually.
I
It'd be
got ripped the
beautiful.
other day because when I was up north, I went to the gym with one of my friends,
You're your
Rich,
power builder, mate.
and he was like, do your followers know that you frequent a gym sometimes? I was like, no, they don't.
How often do you go to the gym,
Yeah.
Mike?
Disclosure,
How
I
often?
sometimes go to the gym.
Once a week?
Yeah,
Yeah.
once or twice a week. It kind of depends. If it's nice weather,
But
I'll
see,
train outside. But
you enjoy that though, don't you? Like going to the gym, you enjoy it.
yeah,
Yeah. So this is it. Like there is no, and we said this last time, I think, and there's no perfect way. Doing the Vibrant People program is going to support you for sure, 100%. And do some other stuff. Do it at the gym and do some deadlifts.
mm-hmm.
Awesome, great. Do it in the park and run there. Swim 2 kilometers and get out and do your workout. Whatever, like enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, it's not going to work, right? That's the motivation, inspiration,
Sure.
enjoyment. It won't. You can only grind through something for so long, and arguably, if you keep grinding, it will become a habit, and then you're doing it.
Yeah.
Do you really want to be that guy? Like, if let's say that let me think. Okay, you could run. Um, I'm just making this up. 3 5Ks a week. You'll get in shape. Are you enjoying that? Is
Mm.
that fun for you? It might be.
Yeah.
Great. But for me, I track my fitness pass. I have done a million different things and I do it until I don't enjoy it anymore. I was doing CrossFit, right, for 7 months recently. Just stopped enjoying it. Stopped going. No, I didn't stop. And then I just I doubled down on my calisthenics stuff.
Mm.
I threw in some surfing and running
It's interesting
because
because
I enjoy it.
I would say the danger of that is constantly chasing novelty, which
Yep.
I think is a risky pursuit as well.
Yep.
Because
That's
if
interesting.
if you change the approach to what you're doing, and I think this mainly falls into training, but people are at risk of it with nutrition as well if they don't build core habits and they just follow diets, which we don't do diets in this program.
No.
But it can almost
Mm,
be like you're starting the habit again, which
I
puts
hear
you
you.
back in that danger area of relying on motivation.
I hear you,
That's the
man.
risk.
I hear you, and I'm like, oh, is that? I love it because I'm like, oh, is there some truth in that for me?
Let's talk about it. Your
Yeah,
transition from CrossFit to bodyweight training.
yeah, yeah.
Did it
Well,
go that smoothly to begin with?
no,
Mm.
no, because if anyone's ever done CrossFit, it's brutal. You know, I think the workout that I was like, what am I doing? Was like it was like 100 push-ups, 80 wall balls, 60 pull-ups, 40 sit-ups. I think, and then we had to row a kilometer and then do it again. And I was just like, this is mental. What are we doing? I remember asking the coach, like, Coach, what are we doing, man? And he's like, yeah, just do the thing. And I'm like, I did the thing. And I'm like, I didn't need to do the thing. That was so much. And I was eating loads. So I'd get home and have like an omelette, a bowl of granola, a couple bananas, and probably a boiled egg half an hour later. And didn't put any weight. I was just like, and I looked pretty good. My body was like hurting,
Mm.
and it was just I was aware that this is when I was starting to see injuries, right? And so then I was like, okay, I'll quit. I'll just get fully back into the program. I was also doing, the bodyweight program alongside that, like less, but here and there. I'll do that, but I took my foot off the gas and I was like, yeah, I'll just do it twice a week. I don't need to do. And I noticed got a little tum tum. I was kind of eating the same, but the exercise had dropped, and we were speaking about it, and you're like, "Oh, what are you eating?" And yeah, then the remotivation to be like, I don't want to look fat.
Mm.
I didn't like seeing a little belly. I'm
Yeah.
not fat
But with the
from me.
CrossFit, that habit was ingrained, so you were just going and doing
I
it.
woke up at 5 a.m., had my tea, did a stretch, got in the car, went to the gym and did it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even though you were replacing that with some different strength training,
Yeah.
it was almost there was an element of like restarting, which is
Yeah.
definitely the risk of chasing novelty. I
100%.
think
Yeah.
you have to do it in a almost blended way.
Yeah. I think for me as well, man, like I've always moved. Whatever thing, the main thing, whether it's CrossFit or the gym or body weight or this, regardless, I'd be doing some squats and push-ups every morning, a bit of yoga, bit of dynamic stretching, and that was baked in from like my 20s. Yeah, sure, there were some days in my 20s it didn't happen, but I knew I had to do 10 push-ups on waiting for the kettle to boil, 20 squats while the shower's heating up, like every day, even if I've done a workout. So my base level was good, so it's easier for me to then get back into the habit.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with you. If you're chasing those programs, right, and you do the thing and then you stop and you're like, oh, I'm gonna try CrossFit now.
What's next? Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna try gymnastics, whatever you're doing.
You're putting hurdles in your way.
Yeah, man. And if you aren't motivated or your base level, I mean, it's what you spoke about before earlier. It's hard for you to remember finding this because this is just your life now. So you have to find the thing that you enjoy doing as your base level and then build on that. You like
Yeah.
going for walks, you find it really, but some people don't. Let's say walking's really getting those 10,000 steps in. Some of our dudes are doing 20,000. I'm like, where do you do it all day? But if that's your thing, just keep doing that, man.
Mm.
Keep doing that. Just do the 15-minute workout.
That's your base.
You get your program. Maybe it's 4 rounds of something. Just do 2 rounds. Just do that.
You can get your novel.
You
You can
know.
get your novelty in small doses, I would say.
Yeah.
For example, I'm bringing it back to the surfing again. I
Yeah. Yeah.
apologize for anyone who doesn't care about surfing. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but I'm not saying I'm going to replace every single workout I do with surfing.
But,
That would be difficult, and I guarantee if I did that, I would fail. I guarantee. I'm just saying,
mm.
right now, that's my strength and mobility. That's just my foundation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I like it, but I'm not every workout like, this is amazing. I love this.
Yeah.
Sometimes I am, but most days I'm not. And I'm just doing that surfing thing on the side. It's just keeping the novelty high. Also, during summer, getting
Yeah.
outside, I'm just doing a few skills, like doing handstands in the park,
Wicked.
just messing around with a few things
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
But it's not replacing that
Yeah. Yeah.
base.
That's it, man. The base has to be there. Find the base that you actually you can do.
I don't think
achievable.
we can talk about enjoyment without talking about the food element as well. I'm pretty sure that question was framed mainly for the training side. I'm not motivated to work out today, but it could also be.
Let me read that question. I think you're right, though.
What's called a fitness system, so that would embody all of the.
Yeah, okay. So
but we can't talk about. So we've got.
Yeah.
Let's just summarize where we've got so far. So we've had remind yourself of your why.
Yep.
That's going to light up your motivation again.
Mm-hmm.
Have awareness. How do you feel when you make certain choices?
Yeah. Let's say negative ones.
Or positive.
And positive. But
because that can feed into the motivation. If you make a good choice and you feel good.
But let's recap what we came to is actually remembering how you feel when you don't do the thing.
Yeah.
So remember how it feels to do it and acknowledge and be aware of what it feels like when you don't do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And one thing I don't want to go off too far, but one thing I wanted to add to that we didn't cover was journaling can really, really help do that because it forces you to extrapolate that reflection onto paper and face up to the truth of it.
Yeah.
If it's just in your head, you can be like, I'm not going to think about that. Or like, just get on with the next thing.
Yeah.
With the journal, it's like, right, I'm taking, even if it's 1 minute, you go, I'm going to get this out on paper. This is the truth of the matter. And it's almost like someone else telling you it, even though you're reflecting.
100%, man. And if the practice, there's like a bunch of, we're going off on journaling, aren't we? But hey, we're here now.
Yeah.
Like keep
it brief.
Yeah, keep it brief. Free start. Like when I started 3 words, small sentences. But when I get to a point now when I just write and I don't even know what I'm writing, mentally that helps so much, man. And I'll just go off on something and I don't often read it back. I barely ever read it back. But just that blah of my day. Or it might be just some thought I had about, whatever. But just getting it out and that feeling of releasing it.
It's powerful.
I went off on one there. So
I guarantee if you'd been training and eating well for a period of time and you had a day where you didn't work out and you ate junk food, like that would be coming out in your journal. 100%. I guarantee it would.
Yeah, definitely.
So we've got your why, awareness, enjoyment.
Yep.
Let's just touch on the food side of enjoyment because I think that's important because people believe, probably because of the prolific diet culture that surrounds us, that being on a diet, which I think in itself is an incorrect term, on and off, not correct. So it should be a way of life if you want it to last, is also an idea of sacrifice, of pleasure, like, I don't know, like taste, celibacy, repetitiveness. So if you can inject more enjoyment into that, again, that's going to allow you to stay on track. When you haven't got that motivation of I want to lose weight or I want to have better digestion or have more energy.
Yeah, man. And awareness for me was like I barely ever put on weight my whole life. I'm very lucky, high metabolism, yada yada. But what I noticed when I never tracked ever, when I used to laugh with calorie tracking, just eat what you want, man. And when I met you and you were like, oh, what do you eat? And I was like, this and that. And you said, you probably not eat enough protein. I was like, no, I'm good. And then you're like, just download the app, man. And I was like, I am not eating enough protein. Wow. So again, awareness. And I tracked for probably a month of like, what do I normally eat? And just not think, this is what's on the plate usually for us as a family and how we eat 3 times a day. We eat organic, we eat whole foods. I get the odd naughty treat, but pretty much 90% whole food. What came up was too much carb, not enough protein. Cool. So I haven't really changed what I eat. I've dropped some of the carb, just eat more protein. And I like it.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it. And I'm not like, I'm going to have to eat some raw steak or whatever. I'm like, I'll just have a bigger omelette, man. I like omelettes.
Yeah.
Or I'll have a boiled egg. I quite like a boiled egg.
Yeah.
Bit of beef jerky in the backpack,
Most people that join Vibrant People, they say to me on the call, like I would say 50% say, I've already got a good diet.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, it's not incorrect because it's
compared to
I'm not eating junk food all the time.
I'm at McDonald's for breakfast.
It's almost just like a restructuring of like what you're already doing.
Yeah.
Most people kind of know.
Yeah.
what to do,
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah.
but it's just a reshuffling and like a perspective shift.
Well, I think, and there's an easy win because you're right, man. And most everyone will be like, when I'm at work, someone breaks out the cakes, or there's always sweets in the kitchen at work, and I'll have a bag of Haribo or what. Like they know that.
That's an awareness though, because some people don't know that.
True, but a lot of people in our program, when prompted, are like these are the areas that are falling down or missing,
Agreed.
and that's that's an easy one. Like I knew having an almond croissant 4 out of 7 days a week was probably not a good thing. It was
Delicious.
it was fucking delicious, and I will have an almond croissant now and again, but I stopped it. That was like quite easy. What do I do now? An apple and a boiled egg. So step one, it was like an easy thing. And then the harder was just then adapting so I guess what I'm saying here is like I didn't have to make huge changes all at once. It wasn't like, right, new diet. It was just, drop the thing I kind of already knew. I was already aware this is naughty, it's full of sugar.
And this is why the enjoyment piece for the food and how that's important when the motivation dips. To me, there's two important elements. The first is how aggressive or all or nothing are you going from the beginning? If you are saying to yourself, right, I'm going to eat a boiled chicken breast 3 times a day and some like dry spinach with no seasoning and only drink water,
how long
motivation will get you through a week, if that. But that's going to be very, very hard to sustain long term. Even if you feel good off the back of it. Realizing that you don't have to be so aggressive and you can include foods that you enjoy. In fact, a lot of foods is so important. The second point is that there's a shit ton of food out there in the world. Whole foods is probably some people feel that's like a limitation. That to me, that's just an ignorance of like what's actually available because we've become indoctrinated by all these processed foods. There are countless foods out there. If you can find ones that you enjoy, you don't have to follow a strict meal plan or anything like that. If you say you replace that almond croissant with the boiled egg and the apple, I love a boiled egg and I love an apple. That is a delight.
On there.
That is a delight for me.
Yeah.
That might be the worst nightmare for you, but I guarantee you can find something that you absolutely do 100%. Love. Maybe it's some smoked salmon and a mango.
Well, bro, I feel like you could, I go to Sainsbury's, and I remember my wife and I went vegan for about 6 years, and I remember thinking, I only need to shop in 2 aisles. People are like, what do you eat when you're vegan? The entire fruit and veg section. And then, then we started eating meat about 1.5 years ago, and then it's like, well, add 2 more aisles. That's all I need in this whole enormous supermarket. Okay, then I'll go get some sauce. But you do know what I mean? Like the meat aisle, the fish aisle, the fruit and veg aisle.
Yeah.
Exactly. So much goodness in there. And these stories of, well, it's not even a story, it is a story, and our bodies get addicted to things. Sugar. It's sugar. Yeah. All of this processed food is sugar. Like there's sugar in it.
Sugar and fat.
Sugar and fat. Yeah. And so our bodies are just like, I need the thing. I don't need an almond croissant. I will survive without an almond croissant. I won't survive without some boiled eggs, some beef jerky, or some salmon. But we don't know that. We're not aware of that.
Yeah.
I need to feel good. It comes back to like, I touched on coffee and stuff. Like, to feel good, I need to have that almond croissant. I need to have that coffee. No.
Not necessarily.
I promise you.
If you can ride the motivation wave to get you through that initial period where you're like breaking the desire, the cravings.
Yeah.
Which you should be able to do because it doesn't take long.
No.
When the motivation dips and you're focused on whole foods and you're not limiting yourself too much in the sense of getting out of that mindset that it has to be like very uniform and bland, which is literally not true at all. No. And you find foods you enjoy, it's going to be pretty easy to maintain the food side, I would say.
And like you always say, man, if I want to have a croissant, I'm going to have one because I'm aware of what it is and what it's doing and what it's not doing. And it's Saturday, and I'm having one.
Absolutely,
and
that is so important. Joe,
yeah, bro. Well, that's sustainable. Otherwise, and I just want to touch on that off the back of that. I'll have that almond croissant. I might go an extra walk to the cafe to get the almond croissant. Like I'm aware of what it's doing. I'm aware I better have 2 pints of water after that.
Yeah, And maybe that is on the food side of things when the motivation dips is the reason it's a struggle because we're tying up a lot of emotions and labeling with the food choices.
Yeah.
Let's say you're 8 weeks in, motivation's dipped, your family's going out to a restaurant.
Yeah.
And you've labeled all the options as bad.
Yeah.
Which then as a result will come with guilt, shame, whatever else, right? That is going to feel difficult to maintain.
Yeah.
You could actually go and eat that pizza and be like, right, cool, I'm going to enjoy this. Great. It's not bad or good. It's just on a spectrum. And then I'll just get back to it tomorrow. All that is that, or you could eat that and be like, what's the point?
Yeah.
I've messed it up.
Oh,
now I'm just going to go off track.
Yeah.
That is probably actually what happens when the motivation dips. That's not allowing you to keep going, which is purely a mindset thing. It's not a choice. It's not even a choice thing.
Yeah, man. And you know, that's why often, like when our clients are tracking and stuff, and someone might be like, oh man, I was with clients this week and had this and that. I'm not really looking at your daily when I'm checking out on our client. It's like, well, how's your average looking for that week? Oh, you're pretty good, man. Couple of dippy days, no worries. But these other days, great. When it's become 5, 6, 7 days in a row, then there's this issue of like, okay, there's some discipline, so lack of awareness, lack of accountability. But yeah, all of this stuff is fine.
Absolutely.
It's a wedding and you had a few beers and you're feeling a bit shitty. Okay, so
Absolutely.
what are you going to do with that? The awareness. I woke up hungover. I haven't drunk in a year and a half, but I was spoken to a client today, and he's like, "Man, I'm hungover. I've, da." And I was like, "Cool. So what are you going to do today? Go and eat McDonald's and wallow in bed on Netflix, or just get out for a walk and maybe jump in the ocean and do 10 star jumps." You know what I mean? Like I know I know I am. I can control it. And this is coming back to the awareness thing. What I put in my body is really important, but I am in charge of that. And as soon as we know that every single decision we make is ours, and I'm controlling that decision, I'm going to go buy a pot of custard and an apple crumble and bosh it to myself tonight. I made that choice, not the feelings that I'm feeling a bit sad or a bit low today. That's me. Joe made that. So what I started doing that was me recently, I like start writing a little bit. Like I really want to go buy some custard and eat that thing, and what did? Oh, and it was something to do with work, this other job thing. Okay, I'm aware of that. Do I still want the custard? Nah, I don't actually want the custard. I was trying to numb out the feeling.
Yeah.
So this is food and it's such a complex thing. Everything we've said is 100% accurate. I guess feeling again. Why am I choosing to go and eat a shitty meal? Am I choosing to? If I'm choosing to, cool, own it. I feel a bit shit and I really want a big greasy burger tonight. Cool, man. What are you doing tomorrow? I'm gonna go run.
Right. Yeah. And that, I think it's maybe an appropriate moment to introduce a system that we use with some of the clients, which is like the volume frequency equation, which I did a little workshop on. It's an idea that I've had in my head for a long time, and we did it as a workshop. And it basically is the idea of when you make less optimal choices, there's a volume amount. So like you could have one piece of a chocolate, or like, I don't know, like a chocolate button or something, or you could eat 1,000 of them.
Yeah.
That's the volume element. And then the frequency is like how often you're partaking in that behavior. So if you go out for a pizza once a month, but the rest of the time, like you're pretty on point, enjoy that. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's going to have zero impact, like absolutely zero. In fact, it has actually a massive impact, a positive impact.
Yeah.
Because if you can do that, it's going to show you that life is great and that this approach is sustainable and
100%.
like this is how life can look like. And then the other element, so just summarizing that, volume, how much in the moment, frequency, how often. So if you're going out with a client dinner every single night, that is going to have an impact in a negative way.
And beers,
unless you're making very considered choices. So in that enjoyment piece, it's like try and make the normal days as enjoyable as possible by choosing foods that you want, but also allow yourself like diversity to less optimal things, but just be aware of how much volume and how much frequency.
And I think it's important to note here that I feel that it may take some time to get to that place.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool. It might be you have to cut out pizzas for a couple months.
Yeah.
Until you've got your floor raised, you've got your habits going, and you know that that's not going to affect you
And some
mentally or
emotional
physically.
control over
Yeah.
how food affects, like,
Yeah.
eating your emotions, etc.
Right. So that the habits take time. I just want to acknowledge that for some of our clients who find it hard. Oh, you bit more work before you can get back into the pizzeria. A little
But
bit more
that doesn't
time.
mean you have to live like a monk to get
No,
to
it
that
does
point.
not. It does not.
You can, someone eating let's do the steamed chicken breast, boiled.
Yeah,
Let's go
yeah,
boiled, even worse.
yeah.
Boiled chicken breast, no
Piece of
salt, with some
dried
dried
spinach. Yeah,
spinach,
yeah,
6 times a day.
yeah.
The person that's having like an omelette with some like
Yeah.
feta cheese and two
Salmon for
bananas,
lunch.
like
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah, salmon for lunch with a salad and some rice,
yeah,
steak with
yeah,
homemade chips
yeah.
and some tender
Oh,
stem,
I'm gonna cook that
and
tonight.
then some like Greek yogurt and berries for dinner. You can get as good result as the chicken breast dude.
And let's not forget how that mental state is going to affect everything, like our body, how we look and feel. Is the guy who's doing that diet number two. Diet number one's going to feel a certain way because it's discipline and he's done the thing and he's like, yeah, look, I'm a badass. I'm only eating. But there's not going to be I'm going to go 99% of people are not going to enjoy that. There's not going to be joy. There's going to be guilt.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to walk past going, I wish I could have a donut today.
Exactly right.
Oh, look at this. And then there'll be projection of like shame on other. Look at this fatty having a pizza. He's not. He's just having a pizza, man.
Yeah.
Like there's that, and that's just like a negative spiral of thing. Where if I'm like, yeah, man, that's diet too all day long.
Yeah.
Diet.
So
That's
I
just
think
eating.
that's a great way to wrap
That's
up
just
the
eating.
enjoyment.
Yeah, man.
Is have a little diversity, enjoy the choices that you're making. It doesn't have to be rigid.
Yeah.
And also let your hair down once in a while, like
Yeah.
not a big deal.
Yeah.
So we've got the why, we've got the awareness, we've got the enjoyment.
Yeah.
They're your kind of core things. But I would also say we need to talk about habit. And I feel like I'm putting myself straight in the deep end here because what a hard topic to talk about.
Bro.
How do you get to the point where you're working out 3 or 4 times a week, you're doing your 10K steps, you're getting good sleep most of the time, you're eating whole foods 95% of the time, but it's completely on autopilot? How do you get to that point?
Little steps, frequency and volume
Over time.
Do the graph, right? Like start 5,000 steps. Start with one whole meal, meal a day. Start with a 15-minute workout a week. Start with 7 hours sleep a night, twice a week. Do that. Next week, 30-minute workout, 6,000 steps, 3 7-hour sleeps. That's for me how it works.
And constantly dipping into those 3 other things.
Yeah.
Constantly reminding yourself of like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Constantly being aware of, when I did X, it made me feel this way.
Yeah.
And constantly trying to optimize the process so you enjoy it more.
And I think, and in ways, I was thinking about when I started meditating years ago, a friend told me he'd put like a blue sticker, there's a little tiny blue sticker around his house, just on things. And when he was moving around his house and he saw the blue sticker, he had to stop, close his eyes, and count to 10 and move on. And that's how he started meditating.
Really?
So I did that for a while. So I'm like, oh, I have to stop. I'm rushing off to. There's a blue dot.
Habit's such an interesting thing because
then it just became a thing. And I'm like,
can't
I need
force
to
habit.
No.
Like we live in a world of instant gratification and we want things fast.
Yeah.
Habit you cannot force habit. You can have all the money in the world, like the best coaches in the world.
Oh yeah, right.
You cannot force habit.
Trainers that make you run faster.
Habit is time.
Yeah.
It's time and repetition and consistency.
I mean, bro, like big up one of our clients, Brad. He's been in now for 2 months. He checked in on his mobility workout the other day and he's like, oh my God, I am stretching. It's 10 minutes a day for 2 months, 6 weeks. That's not very long. But because that, big up Brad, he was like, I'm doing this thing. And whatever time he's doing the thing, mobility workouts not so fun. The way I do it, I watch them and I have a little podcast on, or I can be doing some little bit of work while I'm doing my mobility.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a habit, and then you'll see the difference. I've noticed my flexibility. 10 minutes. Everyone can find that 10 minutes. That's it, man. This is a little step. If I'm like, I got to touch my toes and I can't, you're not going to, that's not a nice goal.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to do that in a week or maybe even a month. That's 3, say, if you're super inflexible like me. That's going to take some time. So, realistic expectations of oneself
Mm.
um,
Do you think
with those
this
habits.
loop of initial motivation, why, awareness, enjoyment, which are kind of like ongoing, habit,
Mm.
I was seeing it as almost a linear thing, but now I'm seeing it more of a circle, because
Yeah, of
if you
course.
do the habit and you
Bro.
do see yourself get the result, that's going to refeed into your motivation.
I'll just remind you, man, maybe 4 months ago, it was midwinter. I remember we had a chat. You were feeling a bit demotivated with just generally, you were just a bit flat, right? And this was getting on top of you, and that was getting on top of you. And I don't know what you did. That's the question. But I remember one day you're like, I just went for something like an 11K run across a field, right? And there's a picture of you in like a muddy field. So it comes round.
Yeah.
Today, you're like, I'm good. I don't need to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
All of us, fucking, I don't know, famous sports person will get that moment when you just want to go out and play for Man United. And then you will revisit. And that's just our life, man. And that's our mental state, our physical state. Like, I was surprised myself. I was like, I'm on pikes right now, and I was like smashing out 15, 18. And this week, 11, 11, 12. Just not really feeling it, but doing it.
But just doing
Just
it.
doing it.
Yeah.
There'll be a time when I'm like back to 20.
Some weeks are gonna be just doing it.
Just
That
doing it.
always,
And
however
that's,
long you've been doing this thing, there are gonna be weeks where you just get it done.
and brother, this is the piece of life. We talk about it. Society. We should be amazing. You should be on top of the world. Smile, positive. You're winning. Eat good. Work out. 5 a.m. crying club.
I love how you lent into the American accent when you did that.
That's where it's coming from, right? Hey, and I was born there. I got it. I was born in California. Just shout out to our American friends. It's bullshit. We're gonna have days when I don't want to get out of bed. You're gonna have days when doing 5 push-ups is hardcore. You're gonna have days when you wondering the point of life. Why did I move here? Why have I got 2 kids? Why did I choose this career? Why didn't I go to college? Why? Yes, get the journal out. That's the time to lean in.
Yeah.
That's the time to go 5 push-ups today. Usually I do 50. Doesn't matter. I'm doing 5.
Yeah.
I'm walking around the block. I'm not walking 10K. I'm having one solid steak this week. Get back on the horse because that will come. And that's interesting. Today is May 30th. Let's see over the course of our podcast, there'll be a day when we sit down and I'm like, bro, I can't do any walking today. That'll be interesting, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
I went off on a whole thing there, but it's a circle, man. It's a circle, right?
I love
It's a
that.
circle.
Yeah, absolutely.
And our clients, and we see it. We've got a couple guys right now who are like, oh man, I think I'm done. And then we'll have a chat. And I said it to one of our clients today. We forget to remember what we are capable of, like what we've been through. So the floor has been raised. The clients are working, they're already doing the things. They're not dropping back down here, they're dropping to here.
Yeah.
So that's easier to get there. So the next up, you're here, and then you drop to here. Floor, 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 floor. Yeah,
I said this I spoke to one of our clients, Nick, yesterday, and he was kind of, on the call, just kind of not that motivated. Yeah, Jake, I'm just kind of like, not feeling I've got many wins this week, this month. I was like, Nick, look what you're doing.
Yeah.
He was like 90% workouts done over the month, great diet, cooking from home, present with the family.
You're
Doing
winning,
the
bro.
thing. I was like, dude, like you're doing
You're
the thing.
winning.
I'm not saying that he should be feeling great about it all the time,
No.
because, like you say, there's going to be dips.
Yeah.
But he has been doing this for so long that he's formed those core habits. And
there you go.
sometimes you just need to reflect and go, oh wow, like I should be proud of myself. Like I'm actually doing
And
10 things that I wasn't doing for myself
right.
3 months ago.
And that's actually a beautiful reminder to go to revisit, to bring back that onboarding time when clients come on and go, this is you when you joined. Here's you now. Look at your new problems. There, because we're going to have problems, right? But man, I don't want to open this up because we're coming up to our time, I suppose. But the piece here, and maybe there's another podcast in this, is we touched on it last night: community, support, reaching out, asking.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it alone. Because a lot of these guys, like the ones that win in our program, the ones that stay are in that community. They're talking to us on the bad. They're not saying, "Hey man, I'm stoked." I'm almost like, "Yeah, well, yeah, that's good." But the change happens when they're like, "Oh man, this is rough. I don't know about this." Guaranteed, Nick's gonna. I hope so. Nick is gonna step up tomorrow,
man.
because he's been vulnerable enough to go, "I'm kind of struggling, mate."
But
Who does that?
if you keep it to yourself, then
Yeah.
you're not going to get those 10,
And the
20 other
story
guys
comes.
going like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I had that last week.
Do this, man.
I feel like that now.
Yeah.
I felt like that
How'd
last
you
month."
get out of it like this? Cool. We're not alone, man. And that's so huge. It's so huge to reach out.
Absolutely, man. So there's one more thing that I want to cover before we wrap this one up.
Yeah.
And we'll try to keep it concise, but we'll see what happens.
Good luck with that.
Can
I nick some of your water?
Yeah. When the motivation goes, like why is that? What's actually happening there? Like, why is that actually happening? So we've talked about the strategies to keep yourself going. Now, the thing that comes to mind for me is feeling that you're so far away from where you want to be.
Yeah.
To me, that would be the main thing that stops us from carrying on. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. And that for me is like unrealistic expectation. Like I've have that with guys like, oh, I thought I'd be looking ripped by now. You've been doing it 4 weeks. What have you noticed? Oh, I've lost half a kilo and I'm stronger.
Yeah.
Oh, celebrate the win.
And it's such a strange thing because we know that taking the action is the only path to get us towards that goal. Stopping, skipping your workouts, eating junk, like that will move you further away. But for some reason, it's this human thing where when we feel we're still far away from where we want to be, that we self-sabotage ourselves.
Well, brother, like think for me, what's coming up is like the 1%. The guys, the Olympians, let's just say the Olympians, professional athletes. That is 1%. There's a reason there's only 10 people running the 100 meters. Is it 10, 9, whatever it is? Because those are the dudes that are just, it's so easy to fall off. Can you imagine what your life will look like with that guy? Wow. Measured out cups of rice, chopped, weighed
You say
salmon.
that though, but Usain Bolt was on the nuggets, man.
Yeah, bro, smoking weed all the time as well. But there's some freaks of nature as well. But yeah, big up, Usain. What was my point with that? Where was I going with that one, man? Lost my train of thought here. I just saw a lady ride by. It's like 11 in the morning here in Penzance. She's riding a bicycle, holding a child with a glass of wine. So I just saw that. That's
respect.
Right. She's gone.
Respect. Big up, Usain. Big up.
You big up this lady living her life. She's probably enjoying it.
We were talking about why do people get unmotivated? Is it because the goal seems so far away that they can't connect the current actions of today with the goal of tomorrow?
So it's very easy to fall off the horse, right? That's what we were saying again. It's easier to go and having a pizza tonight. I can't be bothered to prep that steak and boil the broccoli. I just want to throw that in the oven.
So maybe I'm thinking we've got the why, we've got the awareness, we've got the enjoyment, we've got the habit building, we've got the loop back round to motivation when you start seeing positive outcomes. Maybe this is the tangent, the final piece of the puzzle, which is the absolute knowledge that the action is the only thing that will take you to that goal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's no other way of getting there.
Yeah.
Self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Not doing it.
Yeah.
Feeling bad for yourself. Blaming other people or circumstances.
Yeah.
They're all going to keep you exactly where you are.
Yeah.
So facing up to that.
Yeah.
And just knowing, take action.
Take
action.
If
there's anything to put on your wall, take action is the thing.
Yeah, and I'd say I'd say almost immediately take action. Just do push-ups right now.
Yeah, don't renegotiate.
Go out of the house, shut your computer, go for a walk.
Yeah.
Go downstairs, throw the ice cream tub in the bin that you've been snacking on. Go to the store and pick up some Greek yogurt instead. Like right now, what's one thing right now you can do? Because you can only delete Instagram. I'm scrolling too much. There's always that one thing. And that action will lead us down the thing. Do I have to restock the whole kitchen with the whole food? Not right now, but I can throw away the ice cream. Right? Yeah, man. Beautiful.
Yeah. So we'll leave it at that, guys. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, number 2.
And we'll catch you
See you
next
next
week.
time. Yeah.